Yo, what's going on, my people? It's your big homie Crooks the Great, aka CTG, and I'm back at you guys with another banger of an Undisputed video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the most talked about things right now amongst the community, that being whether or not the patch for Undisputed actually made the game better, or did it leave it the same way it was before we got the patch. Now, like I said, this is one of the most talked about things amongst the community right now, so I wanted to step in and give you guys my opinion on whether or not I think the gameplay improved, or is it the same as what it was before we even got the new update. So in all honesty, in my opinion, it's a little bit of both. I do want to say that I believe the gameplay has improved, even if just a little bit, because I feel like the punch tracking, the punch accuracy has gotten a little bit better than what it was before we got the patch, but it still leaves a lot to be desired. So there's good and bad that comes with that. The land rate, I have noticed, has been going up for myself. Normally before the patch came out, I was landing at about anywhere in between 40 to 45% of my punches, which in all honesty is pretty good for a boxing fight. But now that the patch has actually come out, now I'm landing in between 50 to 55. So as you guys can see, that's a 5% increase in my land rate. So in my opinion, the punch accuracy and punch tracking did get a little bit better than what it was before the patch, but there still leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, shots are still whiffing. They're still kind of going into outer space. You know, and you guys have probably had this happen as well. When your opponent is standing directly in front of you, you throw like a jab hook or a jab body hook, and the hit just doesn't register, or the hook kind of just goes. It creates this funky animation where like the person kind of just leans off to the side and it doesn't hit their block. It's really, really weird. So there still is a lot to be desired and a lot to be worked on by Steel City, but you know, I feel like it's a step in the right direction in terms of the punch accuracy and the punch tracking in Undisputed right now. Now, I've been seeing, you know, I feel like there's no medium ground. It's either you really like it or you really don't like it. But I tend to be right in the middle of, you know, there's still a lot to be worked on. But this patch is a step in the right direction because we are landing more consistently and you're getting more consistent damage, especially with the new block mechanic being the way that it is. Now, something that I don't like and that I don't feel really made the game better is them not adjusting the hooks. Hook spamming right now is running rampant amongst the community because it's probably the most effective way to actually fight right now amongst spammers. It really, really is. I mean, it interrupts jabs. In my Caleb Plant video, if you guys watched it yesterday, I went up against somebody that was legit just waiting for me to enter into the pocket, so that way they can just hook spam with Canelo Alvarez. So that is a really, really big issue that I hope Steel City takes into account when it's going and making further patches, and when they're making hot fixes as well for the game. The hooks need to be adjusted, man, because right now it's ridiculous to have to deal with hook spammers, especially guys like Canelo that have really good hook ratings, and then they have liver destroyer. It's a pain in the ass. It really, really is. So that's something that I just wanted to throw in there that didn't even get touched on in this patch, that I feel like is really a game changer. And once they adjust it, I think it's going to make a huge difference in the way that people play the game online and the meta of the game overall. Now, something that they did adjust in this patch as well is the block mechanic. And it took me a couple of days to really figure out the way that this mechanic worked out. If you guys have been watching my streams, I told you guys I didn't want to make this video too soon because I wanted to get a good feel on how everything worked, and more specifically, the way that the new block mechanic was supposed to be used. And there's good and bad that comes along with this, right? So just bear with me. The good is that it decreases block health and it makes it slower if an opponent is really holding their block the entire time and you're trying to be offensive. It's going to slow that block up as the fight goes along. So in the later rounds, your opponent just isn't going to be able to be running and holding block, and that's normally when their stamina is going to be at the lowest. It's towards the end of the fight. So that's going to make it easier for you to steal those later rounds and even potentially get a finish. So that's something that I love to see. As you guys know, I'm all about increasing activity amongst the game. I feel like before the patch, it was really easy for people to just throw themselves into loose footwork, which is still a problem, and hold block. So I'm glad that they at least addressed one of the issues, that being the block just kind of being a little bit overpowered, as well as, you know, they made adjustments to the pre-test build that we had in January or something like that, where the block was really OP'd. So I like the mechanic. I like the thought process that goes along with it, because they're just trying to increase activity. Now, what I would like to see them do with making the block more balanced is I want them to be able to adjust the slipping and dodging movements, the slipping and dodging head movements. So that way, you know, it kind of complements the block and encourages more of counter striking aspect of the game. Because right now, you know, slips and dodges, there's more risk than reward. And that really shouldn't be the case. It should be, the risk and reward should be balanced. You know, if you're going to risk moving your head and you make the correct read, you should be able to punish your opponent heavy for making the right read and actually predicting the right strike. So that's something that I do hope that they adjust, on top of making the block more balanced. Now, the bad that comes with that is going to be kind of touching on what I just touched on a second ago before I talked about the block. It has made hook spamming a lot more easier to do. Now, I don't know if Steel City necessarily thought about this before they made the adjustments to the block, but hook spamming with the new mechanics it makes it really tough to deal with, man. It really does, because those people that just come out and throw 400 to 500 foot hooks in a damn fight, they're gonna inevitably lower that block down, and then towards the later rounds, they could potentially start to get those high damaging hook combinations that everybody loves to throw, and that could mean it could spell the end of a fight for you. You could have won every single round, but because of the fact that they have now worn your block down, they have now, you know, kind of just chipped away at your body health, which a lot of hook spammers do. You know, it creates a really bad spot for you, and it could potentially cost you a fight. So that's something that I don't like about the new blocking mechanic, is that they made the block more balanced before they adjusted the hooks, because we got one before the other, and it's really made for a difficult time for people to deal with these hook spammers, man. It really is tough to do, and it's not something that I enjoy, and I don't think a majority of the community really enjoys getting hook spam. So although I like what they did, they're trying to take a step in the right direction with the new block mechanic, I feel like they probably should have made adjustments to the hook and addressed the spam before they balanced out the block, because now you're gonna run into a lot of people that are just wanting to hook spam, and it's made it incredibly hard to have to deal with, which shouldn't be the case. It should be harder to spam and easier to figure it out than vice versa. Harder to figure it out than it is easier to spam, and I don't really like that. So I'm hoping as the patches go along that they are in the next patch, or even in the next hotfix that we've been hearing that we're gonna get for Undisputed before the next big patch. We'll touch on that in a future video. I'm hoping that they make adjustments to the hooks, because yeah, right now it's ridiculous, man. It really is. But overall, good and bad with the block mechanic. But that's it. That's my opinion on what I think about the patch, and if it made the game better. I feel like it kind of goes both ways. There's good and bad, but overall I like the new patch. There's just some things that they need to touch up, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. Do you guys think the patch made the game better? Do you guys think it made it worse? And what are some things that you guys are hoping going forward that Steel City actually makes adjustments and improves for the game to make it better? please drop a comment in the comment section. I know, on my last videos, it's been taking me a little longer to get to the comments, but I'm going to be doing that today. Be sitting down and going through a lot of the comments and responding to them. So please drop a comment in the comment section. Let your opinion be heard, and I'm going to be responding to every single comment on this video. But until next time, my people, if you guys are new, make sure to slap that subscribe button as well as slap that like button. It would be much appreciated. So that way, this video does get tossed into the YouTube algorithm and more people get to enjoy the great content that I have for you guys here on the channel. But until next time, take it easy, be safe, enjoy the rest of your guys' day, afternoon, evening, depending on where you guys are watching this from, and I will see you guys in the next video.